the way that I did my makeup just kind of sparked attention from Sephora, and I remember when I got the email about possibly flying up to San Francisco and meeting the gang, and I just remember we sat in a room and they asked me so what do you like about makeup? And I was like, where do you want me to start? Lipstick, highlighter, and they were just so into the things that inspired me, and it just felt like such an organic, I guess a team. I just felt like at home with them, and I feel like we've created all this together. And I don't know. I think out of all the deals that I've been lucky enough to have, Sephora has been the one that I've just been so free to express myself and have these weird, crazy visions. And some of them, they work out and others don't. But I'm just proud of every single thing that I've been able to make, and that's I think that's something that's something to be proud of. So.
We're very proud. Okay, so next question is from Nicole at State Street. So Nicole says, tattoo artist, TV star, makeup maven, fashion designer. How do you do it all? What's next for you, and what do you want to be remembered for?
That's like a triple question.
That's a triple grab.
Well, I mean, there's so many exciting new things, obviously, with the makeup line, and that I think it's just, that's like a medium in itself. And obviously, I still tattoo, and I just finished up my last book tour, which I was really excited about and happy to be. And so I've been working on this album for it's going on 4 years now. It's the project that's taken me the longest, but it's also, I think, the one that I'm the closest to as far as intimately pouring all of my emotions into something so real, and so I don't know. So I do get a little nervous about it, but now we're in the final stages of production, so now it's gone from nervousness to I'm just anxious to share it now. So that will be coming soon. And as of now, by the time we're done, producing, mixing, and all that stuff, right now we're aiming at spring, so for the launch of the album. So it's exciting. Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah. So I wrote a majority of the songs with my dear friend Linda Perry, who I've actually named an eyeshadow after her before. And she just, we just became really close throughout the writing process and all that stuff. And then my best friend Danny Lohner, who was bands like Nine Inch Nails and things like that, he's just such a genius with production. And so, I feel weird, lately I haven't even been able to Twitter very much because I'm in the studio all day like this, playing with synthesizers and guitars and tracking vocals and what sounds exciting but is a little bit less glamorous. So I'm man, I've just been cooped up in the studio all week. So this is my first time getting out in a long time. So if I ramble or if I come off kind of weird, it's because I've missed you guys.
Okay, Eric from Georgetown wanted to hear about when you look for inspiration, what really inspires you as an artist?
People ask me what in my inspiration. It's just, you just gotta open your eyes. It's all around you, really. This is the part where I sound like a hippie, but I'm completely madly in love with life in general, and it's I can fall in love with a tree, I wasn't a big fan of Instagram when it first came out, and then you know why I like it?
That seems to have changed.
Yeah, but you know why I like it? It's because it kind of heightens your awareness of your surroundings, and then you start seeing things as beautiful compositions versus just the piece of trash that was lying there. It becomes something that you can look at it on an artistic level, and I feel that. For me, my biggest inspiration is my surroundings. I meet so many interesting people and so many cool people that I connect with, and it's just, it would be hard. I'm never bored. I just have so many ideas, and I'm just constantly inspired by everything around me. But yeah, I love architecture, elements of nature. Basically, if the sound of Bjork was something physical, that's my inspiration. Yeah.
So you mentioned social media. I don't know if you know this or not, but Anne, who's our resident detective, has been doing some social media detective work, and you are you're the #4 beauty brand on Facebook of any brand.
It's so crazy. It's so weird. I just looking back at my junior high year, I remember Sarah Buxton was her name, and she picked on me the first day of school because I was wearing black lipstick, and I just remember going like, I always felt different, and not in like a weird way, I just felt different, and like, never in a million years would I imagine that people would I guess give me praises for certain things that before I think I used to get made fun of, and I think that is very telling of a really awesome thing, because there's a lot of shitty things that are going on in the world today, but like there's a lot of good stuff too. People are really opening up their minds as far as like self-expression, and makeup isn't really to me about like trying to be something you're not. It's just like tapping into what's inside, and like if you're like me, my makeup approach depends on my mood in the morning. So like I think that is a very it's a meditative and very special thing. So I don't know, this is all a trip to me.
So I wanted to give everybody in the audience just a sort of a little timeline of what 5 years looks like in the development of Kat Von D Beauty, including some of the product highlights. So I think we had some great journeys along the way.
Look how much better my eyebrows have become. I'm learning.
You remember the lipstick, which was one of the first products that we ever developed.
Yeah.
And then we did Sinner and Saint and the tattoo concealer the next year. That was really fun.
Oh yeah, the ads for that. It was like 5 hours of sitting like this while they like sponge tattoo concealer. I'm like, I don't want to be photoshopped. This is real. I have to be real. And I was like, man, my ass hurts so bad. But it was so worth it. I felt like those were pretty striking, compelling ad campaigns, and that was so much fun.
Then in 2010 we launched Trooper Liner, which I think you guys know and love. We'll touch on that a little bit later. We launched liquid lipstick last year, which has been a huge success. And then of course, the little engine that could, our Lock-It foundation. And then spring we launched a really incredible new pillar, which is our blush. And coming up, we're going to show you a little bit later today in our breakout sessions. The liquid foundation won't be a lone soldier anymore because she has a friend coming to join her, our compact foundation. So pretty cool, we're very excited. All right, so on to a question. Okay. Lori from Pembroke Gardens, where are you? Lori. Lori was wondering how you learned to play classical piano.
Well, funny enough, my first two eyeshadow palettes I named Ludwig and Beethoven. Ludwig, I named it after my cat, who I named after Beethoven. So I promise this will all make sense. I started playing piano when I was 6 years old, and my grandmother, who was a very strict, cold German woman, who was like 2 hours a day you must practice, and like. She didn't hit my hand with a ruler or anything, but I really wanted that gold star on each week that we would go to lessons. And so my brother, or sister, and I, we were very disciplined and practiced every day. And so I used to hate my grandma for it. I'm like, oh man, I want to go outside and play with the kids like normal people. But then I'd timer and everything, crying through my 2 hours a day. And now I'm like, that is the ultimate gift. If you guys have kids out there, I highly recommend that you encourage and make them, force them to play an instrument. It really, I think, it's been my best friend before tattooing, before art, before makeup. It was like something that I could, if I was feeling sad, I could, if I was feeling angry or excited, I could express myself through that. So yeah, so thanks, Grandma.
How many of you got to hear Kat play last year?
Remember when I messed up?
God, she was so embarrassed about that. It was amazing. Okay, so next question. We've really, in the last year, we've been really working on the positioning of the brand. I think probably around 2010 was when we really started to zero in on this long wear, full coverage, high pigment strategy for the brand. And in the last 6 months, we've kind of developed a tagline for the brand that we're introducing to all of you today, which is the beauty of bold. And I think no better example of the beauty of bold than Kat herself. But can you tell us a little bit about what that means to you?
Yeah, I mean, selfishly, I like to make products that I want to wear all the time. But I also have, I always think about the duality of things, and just being able to create something that doesn't just lend itself to me and my weird tastes, but also to the rest of the planet. And I think we've been really successful with that. But I'm a big fan of just the high pigments, long wear, full coverage, all that stuff. Like I like the idea of something solid that will totally withstand the test of time. And originally, I think that became something very important because when you're filming a TV show, like just the cameras and I could just tattoo for hours and not once have to think about what's going on my face. Not that most of the time I have like green ink splatter, nobody tells me and I'm having full-on conversations, but still my lipstick was always perfect. So yeah, I think that's where the idea originally started, and then I think the entire creative team can vouch for me when I say like I love being creatively involved, and although I didn't go to high school or go to makeup artistry school, I have a really high respect for what it is that you guys do, and so I'm not going to flatter myself and saying, oh well, I know, like I'm in with all these chemistry and all that stuff. I'm not good at math and all that, but I could draw good. But but I do like to learn the process of how something is made, and that was a lesson that I learned when I first started tattooing. And the more that you understand like how things are made, it's like the better you can understand how to apply them, how to use them, and what they lend themselves to. So when I started learning about pigments and things like that, I'm like, oh, so we can up the pigments. That's awesome. I mean, if you look at the percentage of pigments in our eyeshadows, for instance, in comparison to a majority of the brands out there, we totally are kicking major ass. So, the proof is in the pudding. If you try it, you'll understand it. Did I even answer the question? No.
Okay, so let's move on to where you spoke about actually your art, and so I think that leads to a great question, which is Carol Ann from Syracuse wanted to hear about if there's a most memorable or favorite tattoo that you've given that stands out to you.
I'm pretty emo by nature, so I tend to really attach myself to certain stories behind the tattoo. I remember every single tattoo I've done since I was 16 years old. I mean, I'll remember that versus names and things, but it's more like stories that like have been life-changing to me. I mean, I ended up writing books about it because I felt it would be selfish for me to keep these like inspiring stories to myself. And I learned so much just from listening to people. So like if you were to ask me what my favorite part of tattooing would be, that would be it. And I get a lot of slack from tattooers because they're like, we don't want to be therapists, we're just bikers. And I'm just like, no, I'm like a total lover, and I just want you to come here and like lay your shit on me, and I want to like help, like the tattoo's almost secondary that way, but
tattoo therapy?
Yeah, I guess so. But again, selfishly, I think it's just me trying to, figure out my own set of problems through listening to other people. But yeah, so tattooing, I mean, I think that the most important tattoo I ever did in my entire life was a portrait of this girl named Emily. And she was my first Make-A-Wish kid, and I actually missed her by an hour, and I tried to drive there as quickly as I could, but so I got to talk to her on the phone prior to her passing away, and at that time she was hooked up to tubes and stuff, but I got to hear her breathing, and then I realized once I got there that it wasn't so much about making her wish come true. I think it was more as like timing was that way so that I could spend time with her mom and really be like a distraction from maybe some of the stuff that happens when you lose somebody you love like that. And so yeah, that was the most important tattoo I've ever done so far. Yeah.
Okay. I'll tear up now.
No.
Okay, take
Man, life is awesome. I get to be able to do all that stuff. And, I always think about, I know this is digressing a little bit, but I think about makeup artistry too. I've said it, you guys might have heard this story before, but I love the power that there is in helping others and being of service. And I think that as a makeup artist, I don't have like low self-esteem or anything like that, but but my makeup artist, she's my friend, and she, when she taught me how to put on eyelashes, I remember going like, wow, I have these look like little, like Oprah, and like, I was like, I love this, and I just became addicted to it, but I remember it was like that little tiny gift of like, sometimes when I feel down, and I could just do my makeup, but it's not that I feel like I'm a better person, but it just, like I said, it's meditative, and it feels good, and so what you do, like when you, that exchange of energy when you work with people, I think is really much more profound than just lipstick, you know what I mean? So I think that's really a very cool thing.
Yeah, it definitely touches people, for sure.
So back to this stuff.
Thank you.
Sorry.
All right, so let's talk about your hero products. So there's 4 hero products in the line. First, of course, is the foundation that we mentioned. A great important highlight for you guys is your kicking ass with the Laca foundation. Congratulations. This last month, it was the #4 liquid foundation in the company. And Kat is not resting on her laurels, so we have exhaustively studied all the shades, and next month we will be replacing 4 shades and launching 8 new shades for a total of 17 shades. And that was all based on the feedback, so really we're going to be up to 17 shades in the range now, and we're addressing all skin types. We fixed some of those deep shades, we fixed some of the undertones. Tell me about the story of the complexion line and how did we get to that incredible formula?
Me being super picky. I always sometimes feel bad because like we'll go through so many revisions and I'm like, since I don't know the words, I have to be very descriptive about it. I'm like, I don't know, it's like, kind of like souffle-ish, but not, and then like, and I think after, I don't even remember how many revisions for the like a tattoo foundation. There were a lot, and
it was years.
Yeah, but it was worth it. I always think like, even with this album taking so long, I'm like, no, it's good. It needs to be that way, or anything. I don't want to half-ass anything. So yeah.
Sometimes good things take a while.
For sure, but I think it was with the success of the tattoo concealer. Was kind of like the intro to us even talking about stepping into something like foundation, because as you guys know, that's like a really big deal, and like so I think there was a lot of pressures behind that. But yeah, to me, I just wanted to create something that truly was long wear, but wasn't something that was gonna give me a bunch of wrinkles, or just after a long day's work, just look like your face is gonna crack off like an old antique doll. But thankfully we were able to do that. I think my only complaint is that I have little stars tattooed on my face, and because the product is so badass, I have to like every morning. It's like added a 5-minute to my regimen is like going with a Q-tip and trying to clean it up and make sure and you can still see the tattoo. But that's a sign that we've accomplished our mission, so it's good.
And then Colleen from King of Prussia wanted to know if we're thinking about expanding the complexion line. So I probably gave that away. But
yeah, and I have too on Instagram. I'm like always like, is it cool if I Twitter a picture of this prototype? I know it's not done, but I'm just so excited.
Yes, so you Twittered it and you had 30,000 comments.
It was awesome.
So maybe the secret's out of it. Okay, next is lipstick, which we mentioned was our first product in the line. So I have to ask you to pick among your children. Do you love Painted Love lipstick or do you love Liquid Lip? Do you have a favorite?
I love both, to be honest with you. Lately, I've been addicted to the Liquid Lip, I think, just because I just like, no touch-ups needed. But also, I'm in love with like the velvet finish. It's just, I don't know. In photos, it looks great. And
can you give away maybe a secret on Liquid Lip?
Well, I'm a big fan of mixing stuff, so, and if you were to see my makeup closet, you would understand how much of a hoarding problem I have. Like I'm a collector, and so I like...
That's a nice way to say it.
Addiction at odds. This is called marketing research. But yeah, so I'm like a big fan of mixing things, so like for instance right now this is a combination of Berlin and Jeffrey, so those I've kind of been a little bit addicted. But also too, it depends, like, I have blue hair right now, and I think like the orange lipstick and blue hair combo is so cool. So yeah, it just kind of depends. Yeah.
Okay. And then Tina from Walt Whitman wants to know how you come up with the crazy names for the products. Once I wrote a blog about it. I called it the Name Game, which since last I've seen some of you, I'm like, yeah, I should update that, and I have not yet, but I will. But a lot of it is inspired by music, so I get really excited when I go into like some of the beauty blogs and stuff, and like I'll see that somebody's like, oh, I think she named that after like a Bjork song, and I'm like, yeah, that's right, or like, Enjoy the Silence, that's like one of my favorite Depeche Mode songs, or like,
tons of Cure references and lyrics. And I think the only times we ever like run into problems is when they're like, like run into legal and I can't like some stuff doesn't get approved.
Damn lawyers.
I know, which I'm like weird because like why did lap dance get approved, but then disco dust didn't? I'm like what? Like so yeah, I guess it's something about legal. Who knows?
Okay, then moving on.
I like making him nervous. He's like, moving on.
You're very talented. All right, we're going to move on from disco dust to, I don't know what that refers to. Okay, tattoo liner. So you guys need to know, tattoo liner is the #2 liquid liner in the company. We are on a quest to be #1.
Yay.
And we are enlisting every one of you to help us get there. So,
because I want to make more colors. And if it succeeds, they usually are, more apt to letting me do that.
so why do you love tattoo liner? Why that specific product?
Well, tattoo liner, I mean, I love the formula and all of that good stuff, but it's the preciseness of the brush that I'm madly in love with. I think, I've been addicted to like the cat eyeliner since I was 12 and probably too young, but since I first heard Susie and the Banshees, and I just think that it's the most dummy-proof eyeliner. Like every time I post a picture of like how to do your eyes, or whatever, like everyone's like, how do you do it? And I'm like, it must be because you have a steady hand. I'm like, no, not really. There's just certain tips and tricks, obviously, but and lots of practice. But with the tattoo liner, just something about it really, it just makes it super easy to put on and achieve that, regardless of your experience with makeup. So I always like to kind of encourage those who, don't want to try because I think they're going to mess up to try the tattoo liner.
I think it's that brush tip.
Yeah.
I think that #1 liner in the store doesn't have a brush tip, actually. Which might be why it's not. Just a hint there in case you're trying to sell. Okay, and then our last product as a pillar is our eyeshadow palettes, which was another one of our very first products. So,
that Lady Bird, man, I'm so proud of it. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for really putting it out there and stuff. It was like, that was one of the ideas that I had for a long time that I was really pushing for. That one and the Mi Vida Loca palette. I was like, I love thematically organized themes for palettes because to me as a consumer, I just always like to have things orderly. It's like, oh, I want to look like Jim and the Holograms today. I'll use that. So, but Lady Bird to me was like, there's something so beautiful and like, I don't know, it's like nature in the form of eyeshadows, but making your eyelids look like a cross between a rose petal and an owl feather, which I love. And I just wanted to say thanks so much because I'm always like worried that, maybe people won't get it because, I love it a lot, but I like a lot of weird stuff and maybe they won't, they won't respond to it. But so far it just seems like, we got like 5 stars on the reviews. I don't think we've ever gotten that. We've gotten close, but like, that's amazing. That's awesome. Thank you. That's awesome.
Yeah, we're going to sell out probably in the next month.
So cool.
And then can you give these guys a little sneak peek as to what you were doing in the office last Monday with us?
Oh man, that was so much fun. I didn't want to go. Almost missed my flight too. Well, I want to say it right. We're about to launch some amazing, awesome palettes, and I guess there's really no words to describe how awesome it is, so I just can't wait till you see it. But you should explain it better.
So next summer, eyeshadow palettes relaunched, so stay tuned, but we spent pretty much the whole day together working on them, and
it was literally like a whole group of us at a table going, like this, no, what about this? No, let's take it away. Bring in the tray of turquoise, please. And, we look like the scene in Zoolander where it's like, it's in the computer. Those are hours. But then we came up with the genius solution as to like how to place it, and I'm just so excited. Selfishly, I'm excited because I want to use these forever.
Okay, and last question on product is David from Water Tower wanted to know, if you had to take one product with you, just one, what would it be?
Well, it's tricky because I've been asked this before, but If I have a black eyeliner, I can probably do like 10 looks with that alone, with my finger and possibly a Q-tip maybe. But Adore Red, man, I just love that red lipstick. It's just so, and universally, I think it looks good on everybody, every age, you know, every skin tone. It's just such a beautiful red. So it's a cross between those two.
Okay, well, let you have two.
I know, but then I don't have eyebrows, so
Here we go. Okay, so we actually have a little bit of time left, and I thought it would be great if we could take a few questions from the audience. How do you guys feel about that?
Make them good ones.
Make them count. Okay, any questions? Raise your hands, and I will try and repeat your question so everyone can hear.
So we've heard about your foundation powder coming out. Are we using those together with the liquid and powder on top for even more fuller coverage?
Okay, so the question is the new powder foundation that's coming out. Are we able to use those together? Were they designed to be used together?
It was important for me that they would be able to be used together because we actually just finished filming a how-to tutorial, which will come out soon, of how to use the new powder foundation. But for me, I wanted to be able to, if by any chance you needed to do a touch-up, that you would be able to do that. You know, I can't stand it when like you have like perfect foundation and then you put on powder and then you get whatever those things are called when you get like the pores that like are now like totally magnified by whatever just happened. Now you have to start all over and just take it off. And so that was probably the trickiest part of going through the revisions, was just to make sure and ensure that you could use it and it could stand alone and have full coverage depending on your approach to how you put it on, as well as being able to couple it with an existing foundation. So yeah.
And a great question, actually, because one of your workshop exercises this afternoon is going to be matching the compact powder foundation and the Lock-It liquid foundation, because the shades are all designed to match and layer perfectly. So we're going to have a great breakout session playing with those products this afternoon. Okay, maybe a question from over here? Okay. The question was, any new fragrances in the works?
You know, for me, I tweeted the other day, less is more. And, because I thought about like, the minus sign plus equals plus sign. And I was like, I think that if it were up to me, I would make 10 fragrances and I would have campaigns for each of them and I already have them worked out in my mind and what I want them to smell like. But I think I'd rather just focus and just stay. I think Saint and Sinner they're just so badass on their own. It was the first 2 fragrances that were compatible because of the top notes and all that. And I'm wearing Saint today, and I still love it. And I just would rather just keep it simple for now and just if I have a choice between elaborating on fragrance and lipstick or eyeshadow, I'll probably go with that. But who's I don't know. I'm not a fortune teller. I mean, maybe I'll do another one. We'll see.
Okay, we probably have time for 1 or 2 more questions. So I see 2 people back here. Duke it out. It's a blood match. Whoever survives gets to ask.
What is the next thing you want to do on your bucket list?
Oh man.
What is the next thing you want to do on your bucket list?
Yeah.
Wow.
There's so many things that I want to do that it hurts. It's crazy. I have little books that I carry around in my purse back there that like idea books and stuff that like. One day I'll just go through all of them, but I really want to make furniture. I'm like obsessed with woodworking and like and learn how to sew like Victorian era, like accurately Victorian era lampshades, and I just like things that are handmade. I love things that are crafted. I mean, I appreciate technology and mass production of things too, but I do love there's a certain quality about that. So yeah, I'd like to make furniture one day. I will make furniture one day.
Okay, did I see someone over here? Yes.
I just like wearing wigs.
Okay, so the question is, since Kat is such an embodiment of the hair color trend that's happening right now, would she ever consider doing something with hair color?
I would love to. I think that would be fun, but I feel like that, to me, the way that I see that is like a completely different world that I would have to dive into, just like I did with the makeup line. Even with fragrance, I was, to me, I treated it like a completely different subject, you know, because the process of making it so different, you know, so I don't know. Also, too, I get a lot of slack. I cut my own hair with like scissors that you'd find at like your elementary school library sometimes, like, you know, like, I like that look. It's like I've been doing it since I had a mohawk when I was, you know, 14-year-old. So I don't know if I just feel like I would be flattering myself or something. I don't know, but maybe we'll see.
Okay, one more question.
Can you give a quick artistry tip on how to get that cat liner from middle-aged to old creepy eyelids?
Okay, so the question was, can you give a tip on how to get a great cat eye for maybe a slightly older client? I translated.
Right now there is one existing makeup tutorial that we did we launched. It was like this like neon green thing that I did, but we have I think 2 or 3 that are coming up, and if I'm not mistaken, we'll be releasing them this month that talk about approaches to different eyeliners and different ways of doing it. So without taking up too much of everybody's time, I'll tweet about it if you're on Twitter or whatever, and that way you can know when it's out. Yeah. You know, you could ask Eric Soto, man. Every time we do these tutorials, I get really nervous because I'm like, I don't want to say the wrong thing because like I'm super MacGyver about the way I do my makeup, and I know that I'm probably doing it wrong. So I'm like, you gotta help me so that like, you know, that you guys think I'm legit. So I'm the worst at giving advice because I'm like, how do you do that? I'm like, I don't know. I just kind of do it like that, and I use my fingers a lot, which I probably shouldn't be doing. And, you know, so yeah, the worst advice giver.
All right, so Kat and Eric will actually be in the breakout sessions this afternoon. And you're going to play a fun game of beauty trivia with Kat, but you'll also have an opportunity to ask some more questions. So if you didn't get a chance to ask your question right now, you'll have an opportunity this afternoon in the breakout rooms. But I just wanted to say thank you so much. I think, you know, you've got like 400 people in this room that are in love with you, and
I love you all so much. It's so crazy.
we're just so proud of you, and we can't wait. Thank you.